Dutch political commentator Eva Vlaardingerbroek has risen to prominence on the global political stage following her involvement in the Dutch farmers' protest. This was a working class protest movement similar to the Freedom Convoy, except that it demanded an end to the Mark Rutte government's nitrogen policies, which farmers said would be detrimental to their industry. Now, Eva was in Ottawa speaking as part of the Christine Anderson's Make It Your Business tour, which was a tour by the Trinity Productions, and the theme was basically encouraging people to be involved more politically and increased civic engagement. And I had the opportunity to catch up with Eva after her speech. We discussed the recent surprise victory of right-wing populist Geert Wilders in the Netherlands, the impacts that the farmers' movement had on this victory, as well as what does this mean for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who is a politician who is similar to the outgoing Prime Minister Mark Rutte. I also wanted to ask Eva about cancel culture. If you read our news at True North, you may have heard that the initial venue for the event, the Ottawa Conference and Event Center, canceled on them, citing connections to hate speech. This is quite common in Canada, where left-wing groups will pressure venues to cancel because they don't like the speakers. This is all part, of course, of wokeism, which mostly comes from the United States. So I wanted to ask her, in the Netherlands, is this wokeism and cancel culture as big as a problem as it is here? So I guess for people who maybe have maybe heard of you but don't know you that well, could you explain how you kind of rose to prominence in the global political sphere, the Dutch political sphere, etc.?
Oh, sure. Yeah, it was kind of by accident, to be honest with you. I was a law student back in 2015 during the refugee crisis in Europe. And I had all sorts of opinions that got me in trouble with my professors and my fellow students. And I was at a meeting one day. I was listening to a lecture by someone who was a bit more on the right. And I met a journalist there. And that journalist asked me, he was like, would you maybe talk to me about your experience in university and how, there was a lack of academic freedom? And I said, yeah, sure, I will. And that changed my life. So it all started out there.
Right. We've seen in the last week, Geert Wilders win a surprise government. A lot of people weren't expecting this. He's tried to run multiple times in the past and he's failed. What did you make of his surprise victory? What message do you think this sends?
I mean, it was an amazing surprise. And I will say it was a surprise because indeed it was unexpected and unprecedented, because the PVV, Geert Wilders' party, is a nationalist, right-wing, very strong anti-immigration party. And they have been, ridiculed, demonized for as long as they exist. I grew up thinking that the PVV was a party for stupid people, or that was what I was being told at least. And now 1 in 4 Dutch people went out to vote for them. I personally went out to vote for them as well. And I'm just overjoyed with the result, really. It's a really strong signal. I think that people are done with the intimidation game of being called far-right, Nazis, all sorts of extreme labels for perfectly normal, healthy opinions and criticism of mass migration. That the fact that that is now something that people dare to come out for and say, like, hey, I actually don't agree with open border policies. I don't like the fact that my country, it has changed beyond recognition, and I don't care anymore what you call me. I'm going to go out and vote for this party and demand change. I think that's a really good sign.
This election took place after the farmers' revolt that we saw in 2022, similar to the convoy, a issue where the working class kind of rose up against the governing class. Do you think that had an impact in his victory, or do you think it was just other issues all coming together?
Oh, it absolutely, it had an impact. The farmers' movement was beyond just, the rights of our farmers. It was something that stood for a bigger problem. And indeed, it was the globalist, elitist class against the ordinary people, and that class trying to take away their rights. To me, it was important because I saw if they can do this to the farmers, they can do it to everyone. And I think that that is something that the Dutch people have woken up to. They don't think it is fair what our government has tried to do to our farmers, and is European Union is still trying to do. And Geert Wilders is someone who has always, from the get-go, been against the expropriation of our farmers. He also wants to leave the EU, which is something that I'm extremely in favor of. And if we end up doing that, we might actually stand a chance against this tyranny.
Justin Trudeau here also saw kind of a working class revolt with the convoy. Do you think in the next election, we don't know when this is going to be because we have a minority government, but do you expect Canadians to give similar results to the Netherlands and maybe vote him out? Or
I sure hope so. I mean, if it's about time that you guys vote him out. And, the thing is that we didn't expect the Dutch people to go and vote for Geert Wilders in these vast numbers either. So even if it seems like, Canadians won't wake up, Canadians won't go and do that, the voting booth is still anonymous. And you might be surprised what happens. Like I said, we didn't see it coming either. So I have good hopes that the silent majority is not going to be as silent anymore next time around.
And lastly, the event was supposed to take place at another venue, the Ottawa Event and Conference Centre, and they canceled. And they said that you and Ms. Christine Anderson are connected to hate speech and therefore shouldn't be welcomed here. This is quite common here in Canada and the US, wokeism, cancel culture. Is that a phenomenon that we see in the Netherlands? Is that wokeism and cancel culture? Is it as prominent as it is here, or are people better than that?
No, it's absolutely as prominent as it is here. This is all the neo-Marxist, BS agenda that is global in essence anyway. So you have the same type of stuff back at home. But, look at us. We found another venue. See if I care if you call me whatever they said. I think they call this unethical and then they misspelled unethical, which tells you all you need to know,
If you support our work at True North at bringing you the other side of the story, the other side that the legacy media, which many, unfortunately today, take handouts from the Trudeau government, just will not give you, then please visit donate.tnc.news. You can become a True North insider for just $10 a month. Your support is greatly appreciated. For True North, I'm Elie Cantin-Nantel.